mending ties, reshaping the region. It's the Turkish president's first visit to the UAE in almost a decade. What will repairing Emirati-Turkish relations mean for Ankara, Abu Dhabi, and the wider Middle East? I'm Andrea Sankey, and today's newsmaker is President Erdogan in the United Arab Emirates. Well, 2 months ago, the UAE's Crown Prince touched down in Ankara. And on Monday, the Turkish leader paid an official visit to Abu Dhabi. After almost 10 years at odds, the United Arab Emirates and Turkey are looking to build their relationship and strengthen cooperation across the board. The Turkish president received the warmest of official welcomes after landing and made his way to the presidential palace of the nation to meet Crown Prince Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Erdogan says his trip is all about ushering in a new era. But at the heart of their plan is developing their economies. To that end, the leaders signed 13 separate agreements ranging from defense to trade to technology and agriculture, all worth over $15 billion. On the second day of Erdogan's visit to the Gulf country, he attended Dubai Expo 2020. The international exhibition had been postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Turkish pavilion features a celebration of the Turkey National Day. Now, before heading to Dubai, President Erdogan spoke to potential investors in Abu Dhabi.
The UAE is Turkey's leading trade partner in the Gulf region. Even during the period of stagnation in bilateral relations, we maintained commercial ties and preserved private sector relationships. This is proof that our economic and human relations have a deep-rooted history and a solid foundation. The UAE offers financial support and favorable investment opportunities to high-tech companies and startups. Turkey, with its dynamic and young population, is leading new global initiatives that develop advanced technology. I believe that as countries that complement each other economically, we will make significant progress in a short time. We are taking necessary steps to strengthen economic ties in all areas, especially in infrastructure, aviation, banking, and finance.
We hope this significant visit will create further momentum to strengthen cooperation and build a new, prosperous phase of partnerships for the higher good of the two countries, their peoples, and all the nations of the region.
Well, this trip is part of a larger normalization process between two regional powerhouses that began in November of last year. That's when MBZ visited Ankara and pledged to set up a $10 billion investment fund. But the two sides are proceeding with caution. Their recent history has seen its share of tough rhetoric and turbulence, and they've found themselves on opposite sides of various geopolitical conflicts, not least the Saudi-led blockade of Qatar, as well as the war in Libya. But both countries have expressed their desire to leave disagreements in the past and forge a strong friendship going forward based on mutual respect. Most recently, President Erdogan expressed support for the UAE as it faces missile and drone attacks from Iran-backed Houthi fighters in Yemen, attacks which Erdogan has condemned. Now, observers will be watching to see how much this visit could help cement stability and whether its successes can be replicated elsewhere in the region. Joining me now to discuss the possibilities are from Dubai, Ebtesam Al-Ketbi. She is the president of the Emirates Policy Center. In the Turkish city of Gaziantep is Ahmet Keser. He's an assistant professor and head of the Political Science and International Relations Department at Hasan Kalyoncu University. And completing our panel from Doha is Marwan Kabalan. He is the director of policy analysis at the Arab Center for Research and Policy Studies. Thanks all so much for being with us. You know, it really is just remarkable to think about where this relationship was just over a year ago and reconciling that with the pictures we've been seeing, you know, throughout the day. It really is night and day, so to speak. But Ebtesam, this really is good news for most everyone. Everyone really stands to gain from it. Do they not?
I think so. Both are gaining. The Turkey is gaining, UAE is gaining, the whole region is gaining, because this is de-escalating the conflicts in the region, the crisis, okay? And this is, of course, it will have an impact on the stability in the region. This is a win-win situation for everybody.
As an Emirati yourself, I mean, personally, are you excited to see this relationship rebuilt?
I think this is we are coming to the real politics, okay? Because this region is exhausted from conflicts, from wars, from crises, and everybody now is coming to thinking to move from that situation to a better situation. I think everybody is recalculating, okay, the threats, the opportunity, okay, and I think it's from pragmatism, changing their foreign policies, their repositioning themselves, and all in the region, they are doing the same. But I think in terms we are talking about Turkey and UAE, both of them, I think part of pragmatism, part also the whole world has been changed after the pandemic, and we are facing new threats now in terms of pandemics, in terms of changing, climate changing, in terms of cyber threats. So we have mutual threats, we can cooperate on it, and there are some opportunities, of course. The relation won't be identical, and the interest, it will not be identical in terms of will be some issues we don't agree, and there are some issues we agree on it.
Right.
But all in all, it is, I think, excellent situation for everybody.
Right. I mean, the statement came out of the Emirates once that intimated they believed fewer enemies, fewer problems. So let me ask Ahmet, I mean, is it really just pragmatism here, and isn't it about time?
Well, to be honest, for more than a decade, it is for the first time from both sides we are having high-level visits to each other. And it's good on the pragmatic way for not only for bilateral relations, but also multilateral relations in the Middle East region and in the Gulf region as well, which will help for improving the security in the region and also economic cooperation, and also related to the new coming problems that the humanity is being face to face, like climate change, food security, water security, and those kind of stuff. And also we know that some of the Gulf countries, including the United Arab Emirates, are suffering from terrorist attacks coming from especially the Houthis from Yemen side. So there are a lot of cooperation areas in security and defense field as well. So all these problems, I think now open a window of opportunity for both sides, because for a window of opportunity to be opened, at least there should be a problem stream, there should be a policy stream from both sides with the politicians eager to provide solutions, and also there should be some alternative solutions. Now we see that there is a window of opportunity to improve the cooperation in between the Gulf countries, which will help them to fix the relations and also to bring them into a good cooperation level like Qatar and Turkey has already had.
Okay.
So I think if we evaluate all these 13 agreements being signed by the sides in economics, in trade, in defense area, in climate change, food security, water security, I think the both sides are the future for better results, I think, in this case.
Okay. Ahmet, let me turn to Marwan quickly, because, you know, Marwan, we're also hearing, you know, a lot of people describe this as a strategic partnership. Let me ask you what you think the strategy really is here. Both of our panelists seem to think, I mean, this really bodes well for the entire region. But for right now, do you think they're going to keep their cooperation on the economic front?
Yeah, well, I was saying that the two countries actually stand to gain a lot from the resumption of their relationship, although their economic relationships have always been good, despite the fact that they have not been agreeing on everything politically in the region over the past 10 years. The two countries, as we all know, they have taken very different views on the Arab Spring revolutions and on many other issues in the region, but their economic relation has always been good. For example, in 2017, despite differences, as we said, the trade balance between the United Arab Emirates and Turkey was almost $15 billion. And we know that the United Arab Emirates has always been Turkey's largest economic trade partner in the region. But we are expecting that as the two countries resume their political relationship and the visits on the highest level of the two countries, that would even lead to further improving this economic relationship. It's not going to be only this time on improving the economic relationship. I think they will be trying to solve some of their political differences as well. And as we all know, that this part of the world has always been busy thinking about geopolitics. Now they are thinking about geoeconomics, and the two countries now are adopting something like zero problem approach in their foreign policy. The United Arab Emirates is doing that, Turkey is doing that. And I think the conflicts between them over the past 10 years have indeed damaged the interests of the two countries and the whole region, of course. And so many in the region are saying this development as a positive one, and let's hope that it will actually get to where everybody wanted to get.
Right. So Ahmed, let me come back to you. And I mean, if we, all three of you seem to agree that this is, much bigger than just trade deals that have been signed at this meeting, that it is a kind of restructuring of geopolitical aims, maybe across the region. So where do you see things actually changing when it comes to more of the geopolitical conflicts that we've witnessed between, Turkey, the Gulf countries, North Africa, for example? Where would be a good place to start? I mean, low-hanging fruit, for example.
I think the new threats that we are facing opens the first door, like Houthi attacks, drone attacks to Arab Emirates and Gulf regional countries. So the capabilities in production of the UAVs and air missile systems, air defense systems, and training personnel about those issues, providing this kind of equipment for the security of the region might be a good start point for strategic and geopolitical developments. Another important issue is the regional countries has very rich fossil energy resources, which Turkey already need them. And also Turkey has very strong construction companies. Already they are inside the United Arab Emirates and Gulf countries, and they are almost the first or the second place in the construction business. And also we have a lot of Emirate businessmen who are looking for some new opportunities for investment abroad, and Turkey is one of the most important strategic partners within this perspective, which opportunities for the future.
Okay.
So I think all these trade, economy, construction, and defense sectors provide a overall strategic environment for bilateral cooperation.
Okay. Let me get back to Ebtesam. I'm told your connection has been reestablished. And let me ask you where you think geopolitical relationships in the wider region may start to change first because of this restructuring between Turkey and the United Arab Emirates. I mean, where are you looking to? There are so many issues, as we know, not least Libya, Egypt, Syria, the Horn of Africa, elsewhere. Where are you expecting to see potential changes first?
I think it started already in Libya. There are some reconciliation and cooperation in that file. And I think we are going to see it in Sudan and Ethiopia. And this will come. The more cooperation they are heading towards, with more interests between two parties, okay, to solve that kind of conflict in these files. There will be more and more, it starts an economy, but I think it's moved more. We saw that the agreement on defense and security, there are many agreements has been signed. And this is deepen both the relation together. And I think it will move more on other area. We are witnessing that maybe the big change happened in the region, that the American withdrawing and lowering their military footprint in the region. This is also push all the actors in the region to more reconciliation together. So although there are some actors, of course, still they are causing some problem. I mean, Iran here still is not accepting that fact and still practicing some of hegemony, okay,
right,
through its proxies.
Okay.
So there are some those like Turkey. They are realizing the shift in the geopolitics, the change in the geoeconomics, and
Okay, let me turn to Marwan about that.
maybe following more cooperative
Okay.
policy.
Okay. Marwan, where do you think, other outstanding issues could potentially start to be resolved now? I mean, as Ebtesam said, she expects Libya, the dynamics to change there because of this. Would you agree?
I think it was astonishing to see that both the United Arab Emirates and Turkey was supporting the government of Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia during the recent fighting with the Tigray forces a couple of months ago. That was very interesting, I mean, to watch. And as Ebtesam has mentioned also, Libya is, I mean, we are expecting that Libya, the two countries will be perhaps seeing eye to eye on Libya and try actually after many years of taking different sides on the Libyan issue. Maybe we are going to see some rapprochement there. Also maybe on Syria, because the two countries have taken slightly different views on Syria. We know that the United Arab Emirates, for example, has been close to some Kurdish parties in Syria, which, I mean, Turkey sometimes consider as terrorist groups. So we believe that here also we'll be seeing some rapprochement between the two countries. Of course, I mean, as also, I mean, your two guests have alluded to, the regional and international environment is changing in a major way. The whole region is preparing actually for the possible revival of the Iran nuclear deal. And everybody wanted to be, I mean, prepared, of course, I mean, to deal with the emerging situation in case the United States and Iran manage to revive that deal. And we are seeing also that the United Arab Emirates is expecting Turkey to support it more, like politically and diplomatically concerning. And this is what President Erdogan has already said. Concerning the conflict in Yemen and the condemnation by Turkey to the attacks on the United Arab Emirates by the Houthis. So we are expecting to see a whole range of issues being discussed further between the two countries. And we all know that two countries are very important players. Both are key players, actually,
Right.
not only in terms of being very big economies in the region. Turkey is the largest economy in the Middle East, and the United Arab Emirates is the third largest economy in the Middle East after Saudi Arabia.
Indeed.
But also because they are key players in many regional problems.
Okay, let me go to Ahmed. I mean, as Marwan is saying, we can expect some change in a major way here. There are several other issues. We're looking at potentially a realignment of the region and its relationship with Israel. There is a Turkish delegation actually heading to Israel within the week. Ebtesam was mentioning the position of Iran, and also several have mentioned the United States in several ways, taking more of a backseat in maneuvering in the Middle East and North Africa. I mean, where do you see the biggest changes to come?
We have already started to experience some changes about the relations between Turkey and Egypt, Turkey and Israel, to improve the relations as well. Because United States and all the rest of the world is having problems in the Ukraine already, and European countries are suffering, and they are really tied to Russian gas resources so much. So they are looking for some new alternatives. That's why the Eastern Mediterranean resources are very important for the future. So the cooperation, if the cooperation can be improved between Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Libya, and the Gulf countries can provide a suitable environment for that, I think Europe and other Western allies will win from this opportunity for the future as well by having new alternatives for their gas resources, except for Russia.
Okay, Ahmed, I'm sorry, your line is a bit problematic. I'll come back to you, but let me get, I want Ebtesam to, I've been told your line is actually back online as well, but I wanted you to expand on what you think the role of the United States will actually be going forward. You had said that, you know, it's becoming less of the major influencer that it had been. Do you expect the regional powers themselves to really take the front seat and to manage the regional dynamics in a different way than before, when the United States was really calling so many of the shots?
In fact, they have to take the front seat by themselves. The regional countries do not need a backseat or support of any other global power for this one, because all the countries will benefit from the warm climate, warm working climate in between them, both in all the ways, in economic, in oil resources, in gas resources, and this is for the benefit of all the countries.
Let me get Ebtesam's thoughts on that. Ebtesam, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, with this engagement from the region, the United States was pushing towards more rapprochement, reconciliation in the region. But in fact, now also the Americans are recognizing another fact on the ground, that the Chinese now entering the region, okay, grabbing all the benefits. So the Americans now rethinking. Hello?
Unfortunately, it seems we've lost Ebtesam's connection there. Marwan, I'll let you pick up, because I know you did have some thoughts as well on the role that the U.S., or lessened role, arguably, that the U.S. could play going forward.
We all know that the United States is adopting this pivot to Asia for the past few years. They are concentrating mainly on China, and they are trying to be less involved in the problems of the Middle East. And indeed, I mean, the United States has not been really involved in Middle Eastern issues since they started to withdraw from Iraq, actually, in 2011. And last year, we have seen their chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, meaning that they really want to bring their role to a minimum and give the regional players maybe more say in resolving their problems. And I think everybody is recognizing that fact right now. This is why we have seen this very important shift in the relationship between the key players in the region. Not only Turkey and the United Arab Emirates, it's also Saudi Arabia, Qatar. We have seen this dialogue between the Saudis and the Iranians in Baghdad. We are seeing now the Egyptians are having like more reconciliatory approach with regard to Libya. So we are seeing actually different players trying actually to manage their relationship by their own, and relying less perhaps on the United States. And that is something we should all actually recognize as a positive development, because the involvement of the United States in the region have not always been producing the outcome that everybody that should be interested in the interests of the people of the region. So now in less involvement by the United States and more by the regional actors.
Marwan, I will have to let you have the final word, because we are completely out of time for this edition of the Newsmakers. I'd like to thank all three of my panelists so much for being with us, and our viewers, of course, for tuning in as well. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at _newsmakers, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Andrea Sankey. We'll see you next time.